Hello everyone and welcome back to the SpeedCreep channel on the 1972 Chevelle build. Over the winter, trying to get it driving by May, doing somewhat of a budget build as much as you can, doing a frame off restoration. This is the 1972 Chevelle. If you missed a bunch of the body work, floor pans, roof work, all that stuff, it's in my previous videos. If you missed the frame tear down, the paint, getting it ready for everything else, it's in my previous videos as well. This video, we're finally putting some new parts on. I purchased some brand new suspension. All of that's going to go on in this video today. I also started going through and ordering some of the rest of the parts that I need. The part layout's looking pretty crazy right now. It's pretty cool for me because this is the first time I've had actual new parts in the shop to start building this car back. So that's what we're getting into today. Hopefully going to put the suspension on, put this rear axle back in the car, and start the process of building this thing back up. Stay tuned, but before I get started on the suspension, I've got a little bit of spindle work over here. Got to pull these last pieces off. I've got new spindles, but I still need this piece here. So I'm going to work on those first, then we're going to get started on the suspension. Thanks for joining. Subscribe if you like it. Wow, those things were a booger to get on. Got them on. Just went ahead and figured I'd pick up something small since I don't got a whole lot of time. And I messed up. I got a little ahead of myself, and these things were getting pretty tight there at the end. So I switched over to a metal sledgehammer and ate up the corner of my brand new bushing. But yeah, live and learn. I didn't do it on the other side because I noticed it finally, just a little bit too late. But I don't think it'll actually have any physical issues. It's just a shame. But there it is. They're in. I'm human. Mistakes happen. But they were tough. Definitely a good fit. So I'm only able to work about 45 minutes a night. If you're new here, it's because I'm doing a big outage at my work. So I've got about 30 days straight of 7 days a week, about 12-hour days. So really hindering the build on the Chevelle, but I'm still getting out here and trying to knock out about 45 minutes a night so I can get a little bit of progress. So you'll see my clothes change with little pieces of work. That's what's happening. So we'll throw the time lapse back on tomorrow and continue on. Okay guys, I finally got a little bit of extra time today. I only had to work 9 hours, so I got a little bit of spare time. Figured I could make some more progress on the Chevelle frame. My Might not seem like a lot extra, but every hour counts. Just a little update. Got the rear suspension in. Nothing's tight. I just stuck the bolts in to hold everything. So it's technically sitting on the back tires right now, but there's the rear suspension in its basic function. I don't have the shocks on, but there's a sway bar mounted to the lowers. But yep, it's cool to see it back on some tires. So lift this thing back up and start on the front suspension that's right over here. Well, frame's starting to look pretty good. As you saw, I got the fronts on. Sorry about the sun. Trying to keep that out of your face. Looking pretty sharp. Finally getting some new shiny parts on this thing. Of course, everything's still loose, just like before. Go through and tighten everything up, and or at least snug it up until I can get the weight on it, and then actually tighten it up and torque it. But next, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the front brake assembly. That way I can get a wheel and tire on here. I spent a few minutes trying to get the old decrepit wheels that were over there pumped up, but they got holes in them, so I'm going to have to snag a couple of my spares to make this thing a roller. But yeah, next, I think we're going to mess with the brakes, get those all straight. Also, here's a question for you. These bolt-in ball joints, do the bolts go in from the top or do they go in from the bottom? My theory always was if the nut came loose, you would want it to be facing down, but if the nut came loose, you'd have a lot more problems than just that. So I don't know, you tell me. I looked up, a couple people had them coming in from the top, a couple from the bottom. Mine are cut correctly and short, so they're not going to bind up on the ball joint, so that's not an issue. What are your thoughts? What has everybody told you? Does it go in from the top or the bottom? Also, how tight do you make them? That was a hard piece of literature to find. I did it to 15 foot-pounds or 180 inch-pounds. So tell me below, which way is correct, and did I do it wrong? Who knows? All right. Let's go spend some time with the family now that I got a little extra time off, and then catch y'all in a second. Tomorrow. Okay, props where they're due. First, I got this installed. I'm running out of time because I got hung up on this caliper. I started to put these bolts in for the caliper. You know, just standard caliper bolts that come through here and then that floats. So I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, the threads are too short. There's no way that it's going to make engagement. So finally I gave up and called Speedway, and I shouldn't have, but I was aggravated. So I'm calling there expecting to have to deal with a return and deal with a bunch of crap. Well, this is the factory spacer that sits inside this piece. Well, I didn't realize that the bolt is machined in a way so the spacer gets removed and then the bolt acts as the spacer. I was trying to put it in like this, which, as you can see, covers all the threads up and you'll never be able to use it. So I had a brain fart moment on that one, and I ended up calling, and I got this guy named Dustin, March 18th at 5:10 p.m. And props to you, Dustin. I know you'll never see this, but that right there, the customer service that he gave, he was a car guy. He said he's a racing dude, not much of a muscle car guy, but immediately said, hey, did you take that spacer out? I felt like a complete idiot. Dude was cool as could be, nonchalant, had good knowledge. So Speedway Motors called, less than 10-minute wait. Dustin answers the phone and gets me back going. So I know it's something small, but to have a bigger company and still have some decent customer service means something. So as of right now, Speedway Motors and Dustin specifically, you did a good job. I appreciate it. Just wanted to throw that in there for you guys that, you know, you're splitting hairs between different companies. So far, that's made my day. So, all right, let's go eat some dinner, go to work, come back, and put the other side on. Okay, very quick before I show y'all everything, in case you're wanting information, this is the information that I got. Do your own research, might not be right, but it's what I used. So on this brake kit from Summit, you've got the 2 through bolts here, one there, then you have one bolt that goes to the top of the knuckle. Right down in there, that top one says it needs red Loctite, and it calls for 73 to 110 foot-pounds. Those 2 bottom ones does not call for Loctite, but I put blue Loctite on it, 38 to 57 foot-pounds. These top caliper bolts, slide bolts, call for 50 foot-pounds, no Loctite. I think that was basically everything. Snugging this up, you snug it up to 12 foot-pounds while you're rotating to set the bearings, then back it off. Put it back finger tight and put your cotter pin in. I think that was all of the information that I had. This is the complete kit number if you're looking for it from Summit for the 11-inch disc brake kit, 64 to 72 Chevelle A-body. Okay, guys, just wanted to give you that information in case for some reason you're looking at it or who knows what you're doing. But it is sunny out today. Feels like for the first time in forever. It feels great. Got the suspension done. So the suspension's on, the brakes are on. I haven't run any brake lines, but I've got at least everything's there on. The pads are in. It's starting to come together. Front suspension, rear suspension, that's all still loose, but it's in. That wraps it up for the suspension and front brake install. I appreciate you watching. I've had a great time doing it. It's been fun putting some new parts on this thing. That's been fun. Tell you what hasn't been fun is the weather's getting nice, and that sounds counterintuitive, but I don't like to do gigantic projects when the weather's nice. I like to go out and enjoy the projects I've already completed. So I'm really wrestling with myself having this thing in multiple pieces. Deadline's coming up quick. I don't know. Might have bit off more than I can chew, but I'm gonna keep going at it the best I can. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for tagging along. I appreciate it. If you're subscribed, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. If you're not subscribed, that's the thing about YouTube. If you're not subscribed, this may be the last time we see each other, and you may never find my channel again, depending on how the algorithm works. But so if you want to see this stuff, give it a subscription. It's free. Give it a try. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me today on this fine Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. Next week, 5 o'clock Sunday evening, I'll post another one. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Have a great day.